I don't know if you saw the Fetterman Oz debate last night. It was very, very uncomfortable. No, not for Dr. Oz, which he did fine. You know, he said what he needed to say. He was articulate. Maybe stumbled on a word or two, but could be nervous. You would be nervous. I'd be nervous. But it was John Fetterman who stole the show. Now, I'm about to play you something, okay, which is fair use, by the way, out there, YouTube and people out there. This is fair use. What I'm about to play to you has not been altered in any way. This is John Fetterman, apparently at his best. Let's hear it.
As lieutenant governor, you're running for a seat that could decide the balance of power in Washington. What qualifies you to be a U.S. senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve.
There you go. I think that's all you need to hear. Right there. I'm sorry that he had a stroke. I'm sorry he's in a bad way. I'm sorry. You know? I don't necessarily wish ill will on him. I don't. Maybe he does on me. Probably not. But for all intents and purposes, I actually have compassion. Unlike his wife and his ardent supporters that are continually trying to push this guy to do something that he's obviously isn't ready for, isn't well enough to do. Physically, possibly, mentally, no. He's not ready for this. And to say that he is abuse of someone who's been affected by a stroke. I've had family members who've had strokes, and it doesn't look good. They're not right after that. Even now, we're looking at 6 months down the road when he first had it, back in May of some point. And he's not gotten any better. Maybe he gets better later on. Let's hope for that. Maybe, you know, as Clay Travis said, 6 years down the road, he wants to try again. Maybe. You see, this isn't about necessarily... How do I put this? This isn't about Dr. Oz being a bad candidate for the Republicans or Fetterman being a bad candidate because of his really disastrous, just destructive policies that he wants to, you know, rubber stamp. And that's all he is right now. John Fetterman is a rubber stamp for Democrats. Now, is Dr. Oz the best candidate? No. But he is Trump endorsed. Trump saw something, I guess, in Dr. Oz. And Oz is running for Senate in Pennsylvania. So if you're out there looking at, maybe who should I vote for? I don't know, the guy who, you know, hasn't had a stroke, perhaps. Perhaps, you know, you got to look at who's pushing John Fetterman, behind John Fetterman. Who's pushing him to do this? His wife? His supporters are pushing him. He's not well. That is not so. We don't say hi, good night at the beginning of a debate like that. And look, this isn't the only one. His whole debate last night was gaffe-filled. Matter of fact, when I was watching it, I didn't understand what was going on. Because he was asked a question, and he just jumbled a bunch of words together, strung along, and says, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he said. Now, when I meant that he's a rubber stamp, he's a rubber stamp. And I don't think that his supporters and his wife and etc. could really give a crap. His wife is almost another piece of work and deserves another video onto itself. So ask yourself out there. Maybe you're an independent voter in Pennsylvania and you haven't made your mind up. This should have made your mind up right here. That right there should make your mind up for you right there. Who you should vote for. Dr. Oz is not necessarily a MAGA Republican. He's not so far right. He's middling. He's a middle right. And we're in a two-party system. These are the two choices you get. And you shouldn't stay home on election day come November 8th. You should go out and vote. I hope you vote for a Republican. Don't get me wrong. I hope. Just because of what's going on. This isn't right. This isn't fair to somebody who's had a medical issue like this and it's continuing. And it's not getting better. And to say that, oh no, he's fine. If you think that's fine, you have a warped sense of reality. It's abuse. It's destructive. It's ridiculous because he's not going to last. Because there's already reports of him basically bowing out sometime later after, if he does get elected. He still may. But let's say he doesn't, or he does get elected. They're saying his wife will just be installed by whoever the governor is of Pennsylvania, whether it be Shapiro, which would be a lock because Shapiro will push him in, or Mastriano. Hopefully, Mastriano wins. And if this does happen, and let's say John Fetterman does win and Mastriano is the Republican governor of Pennsylvania, and he won't bow out. He can't. He's a placeholder like the potato in chief, the former vice president, Joe Pisspants Biden. You heard that correctly, folks. So, again, I don't know how anyone can say that, yeah, he won the debate last night, because there was a poll that came out, like, who won the debate? It was like 80-20, or like 81 to 19%. Oz won. Oz did a good job. I mean, he said what he had to say. He was articulate. He's a doctor. He's well educated. He said what he had to say. You know, I'm not necessarily totally 100% back behind him, but that's not for me to say. I don't live in Pennsylvania. It's for you out there in Pennsylvania who need to decide whether you want somebody who's mentally addled, and you can see this by the debate. Go ahead and look at it there's an hour debate. Go ahead and look at it and listen to it. Or you can get Dr. Oz in there, who will probably be okay for people on the left, most likely, and people in the center. Dr. Oz is going to be fine. I mean, he's not the perfect candidate, but this is a representative republic, and we're in a two-party system, technically. This is what you get. So Pennsylvania, you've got you've got a lot of soul searching if you haven't voted yet. And hopefully you haven't voted yet. And you take away from this debate that John Fetterman isn't cut out for this job. He needs some help, okay? And I'm not trying to cut down the guy. I get it. You know, he thinks he's okay. His people are telling him he's okay. John Fetterman is definitely not okay. And it's sad. It's sad to see. It was hard to watch last night. It was painful to watch. It made me feel dirty, like I needed a freaking shower after. I'm like, God dang, this is bad. Why are you doing this to this guy? You know why they're doing it? Because the Democrats want power. They want to control you. Believe that. Case in point, John Fetterman. He's a rubber stamp for the Democrats. They don't care what his medical condition is. They're pushing him on you in Pennsylvania and the rest of the country, for that matter. That put this guy in, he'll be okay. No, John Fetterman's not okay. I'm sorry to say that. He is not okay. And for you out there, I don't necessarily like to say you should be voting this way or that way. I do and I don't. In this instance, you should be voting for Dr. Oz and most likely and Doug Mastriano. You need to vote these guys in, because if you want more of this craziness in this country, keep voting Democrat.